Hail to the king, baby.
What is going on, guys? It's me, Michael B, and welcome to another episode of Chill and Chat with Michael B. Tonight, we're going to have some fun because we're going to talk about the new player in the home arcade company. They've released their first two cabs, with the next one coming very soon, Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, and we're going to take a look at what they can do to improve their products. So far, let's say it's been a little less than what we hoped for. So we're going to take some suggestions, some that are very easy and very simple suggestions that seem like they should have been so easy to do. And then we're going to look at some both mistakes and successes Arcade 1-Up have already laid out for Basic Fun and put it in a nice, neat little package for them. The idea here is not to tear Basic Fun down so much as give them a good landscape or good cliff notes on what they can do to improve their product. But before we get into that, I want to say hello to the people here in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. A very serious person says, stop repeating all of Arcade 1-Up's mistakes. That's a very, very easy layup type suggestion. I agree. Ron Walker's here, MSU Rich, Tim York, Dr. Torque, Thumper Squid, who we learned earlier lost his virginity at his uncle's house. Oh, we don't know exactly who he lost it to, though. Nooner's here, Meatball Saucy, who I sent a video of my earlier Star Wars gameplay on my Arcade 1-Up cab earlier today to prove that I'm not as shit as he thinks I am. Sir Sega, good to see you. Hello. Unchained 81, congratulations on picking up your second real pinball. Everybody say hello to Unchained 2 Pins. Dane Bramage is here. Jim the Pacers fan, good to see you. John Fritz, the real Zim, Jason Little Alien, the best moderator in the business, and overall, a pretty good guy as long as you don't leave him next to the side of an open building. J-Rod is here. Meatball Saucy, yes, I made a mistake with the poll, which we'll talk about in a minute. JJ, great comment here. So what are you really paying for? If you're going to have to mod the heck out of the WWF WrestleFest cab, side art and bezel, seems like you could save money with the multicade now, or, modding an old Arcade 1-Up possibly that you buy secondhand. Lots of options there. John Fritz is there. Neo's Arcade News. Paul, good to see you as always, my man. Had a good conversation with Paul last night. JJ again. Who else we got here? Jason S says they need to improve the side art. Why does the side art only cover the lower half? Did you see the TMNT side art? It's horrible. I agree. That's what I've been fixated on since it started. You know how I am with side art. And then, of course, the very first comment of the day, my buddy Sean, RGT85, still very burnt about the WWF WrestleFest experience. Step one, pay the wrestlers so we have a full roster. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anybody coming in. JR is here. Hey, everyone. Joe Hasowski. I used to be Joey 2 Pins, but now Joey V Pin. I understand, man. I understand completely. You actually played well, man. I would say I was impressed, but I won't. The P-Dubs Virgin Fan Club brought me here. Nice. Neil Severa, good to see you. Laramie Griffith, good to see you as always, man. Israel Gaming, Mike B, JJ McQuaid, James Hates Everything, B Kirby, What's Up Mike and Fellas, Dennis B, Show Gecko, Bonos Tecmo, Serious Bill's Retro Gaming Show. The thing I like about Bill is he busts his ass. He's doing the right things. And very soon he's going to start his own weekly talk show, which I'm very excited about. Keep fighting the good fight, Bill. You're a good man. They need to do new titles, not one-up reruns. I am not disagreeing with you, Goofyfoot, at all. We're going to talk about that as well. A few releases in, and every single release has an issue. Come on, Basic Fun, get your shit together. Stupid Fat Hobbit, you're on the money there. I can't debate you on that. It's a shame, really. So that's kind of what we're talking about tonight. Like, I'm going to be very clear. I'm not going to be talking heavily about Star Wars. I've got my review coming up later this week. I want to thank everybody that tuned in, watched my gameplay stream of the cabinet the first night I got it together. And you've obviously seen or heard my first impression so far. So, like, all I'll really say, it's not a BOE monitor. It's a TN monitor. So, you know, it comes with the downside of the TN monitor. TN monitors aren't necessarily a bad thing, but it depends on where the light source is. If there's not even lighting, you get kind of the situation we have with this cab. And if I'm not mistaken, the Centipede cab as well. So yeah, there's that. Who else we got here? I see Steve Sale, David G. Good to see you as well. Don't want to miss anybody. Chris Ford, where'd you put the Star Wars? It's still in my arcade. So I'll give you a little bit of an update on that. I have to do a lot more testing with it and stuff like that. So the plan is Wednesday morning to evening, I'll have my review out, but I got to do a bunch more glamour shots. I actually got to say a huge thank you to my friend Console Kits, because obviously I'm going to compare the design to the original arcade. Console Kits actually just recently picked up a Return of the Jedi arcade. His wife bought him for his birthday, so he was kind enough to do some B-roll for me on it. So I'm going to be able to do a pretty good comparison. And yeah, so anyways, stay tuned for that video. But we're going to talk about Basic Fun in general, because I really do think they're a good company. I think they are probably our best chance at moving things forward in home arcade. I think that, you know, we've seen everything Arcade 1-Up probably has to offer by this point, and I don't think that's going in a good direction. So I think Basic Fun could be the company to move us into the future. There's a lot of things to like about what they do. I like their new cab build. I got to say, putting the cab together, it was very solid, well constructed. Love that. Just a couple mistakes that I think they can avoid, and they should have avoided, because they've already got a precedent out there with Arcade 1-Up. So we'll talk about that tonight. Yeah, Meatball Saucy, that's one thing I will say about Basic Fun, going back to Sean's comment. So Retromania was able to go and get these licenses for Demolition, for the Legion of Doom, for Macho Man, and everybody's like, come on, you're telling me that Basic Fun doesn't have more money than Retromania? Nobody knows the full details of what actually happened there. Nobody does. Basic Fun, anybody who wants to say that they're in with the company, they know everything, they don't. No one knows at all. There's lots of speculation there that it might be they just didn't pay for it and they weren't under Legends deal, so they didn't do it. But we also don't know about the company and what the company allowed. Maybe the company blocked it out. I know THQ can get these guys because they're under separate licensing agreements, and they did get Andre, they did get Macho Man, but we don't know how WWE licensing handled the situation that you could only use characters that were under agreements. And you could say I'm making excuses for the companies. I'm just throwing out possibilities, because if it was just about money, I don't think that it was a lot of money, and I think they could have paid it to get those guys. So I don't think it was just a money issue. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyways, guys, so before we get too far in, JJ McQuaid, good to see you. Mike Hawk hurts. Monday Night Rock and Wait. Michael B is on live. John Cena's last night. It's kind of bittersweet, man. Glad to see him win the Intercontinental Championship last week. I never ever thought I wanted to see him win it. I have been a longtime WWE fan, and the Intercontinental title back in the day was always known as the Workers' title. That's why it was so important. You had the World Heavyweight Championship that Hulk Hogan had, and that was always the show title, where you get the bigger, slower guys, the draws would win that. But the Workers, they would be the ones fighting for the Intercontinental title. So I never ever considered Cena to be a worker. But of course, my opinion of him over the last 10 years has changed dramatically. And I was absolutely elated for him to actually win it. So good for John Cena, man. Super happy. So before we get started, I did want to talk about just a little bit of community drama before we get really into the, big meat and potatoes of what we're talking about tonight. So for those of you out there that follow this drama stuff, I'm sure you've heard about this home arcade war that's going on. The big war. The community is divided. So on one side of the community, you've got these YouTubers that are angry, that are upset. They feel like people are gatekeeping. People are holding down certain shows, and that's why certain shows are failing. And then on the other side of the community, you have delusion. It's the craziest thing I've ever heard. So a couple weeks ago, Arcade Insiders, the new show with Kevin from Spreetail and Paul started up. And of course, they actually were going to stream the exact same slot as Brian. They were going to overstream him. He wasn't on that night, but they were planning on doing it weekly. So, a couple of us, fucked around and we were like, yeah, you know what? Let's stream over him, in solidarity to Chaotic and stuff like that. So anyways, we did it, and we did it once, that's it. And it wasn't that big of a deal. It was more of a prank than anything else. That's the only thing we ever did. But apparently the war has continued, and we're trying to destroy this show, and we've already been trying to destroy other YouTubers and craziness. And to me, it's really freaking sad, man. So the only response I'll have to any of this in any capacity is Thursday nights at 9 Eastern. You can check out, if you like the At Games Legends Pinball 4K, or if you just like really fun dudes, my buddy Chaotic, his co-host Six, if he's not too stoned, they do a show called Yo Retro where they talk about the At Games Legends Pinball packs. And it's really good. It's one I like to support. I like Brian. I think he's a stand-up guy, and I would support him to the end of the world. So then also on Thursday nights at the same time, you have a new show called The Arcade Insiders, which is a unique take on how to do the whole arcade connection with consumers, because it's not a company working with a YouTuber. It's a retailer, Spreetail, that actually buys from the companies, working with a Redditor, now YouTuber Paul, and they're putting on a show. So you can go check them out as well. If you want to know the latest details on what Spreetail's learning about Basic Fun, what Spreetail's learning about Iconic Arcade, all that stuff. At the end of the day, there really is no drama. So for all the people with your tinfoil hats, and if you feel that in some way I'm a war general that somehow kept you down, I would ask you to be more reflective of the quality of your own content and character, and then ask why people aren't tuning in or supporting you. So anyways, with that out of the way, let's get back to the main topic. Cheers. So anyways, guys, back to Basic Fun. And I want to talk a little bit about Basic Fun. I said this when I was doing my playthrough. I'm 100% serious about this. I have been fairly critical of Basic Fun so far. I've been tearing the piss out of what happened with WrestleFest. I've been tearing the piss out of the way the side art works, about how the cabs all of a sudden had increased prices, about how the Canadian retailers made it look like the cabs were Slim Katie's. I've been incredibly critical of them. And what does Basic Fun turn around and do? They send me out a unreleased cab, Star Wars Return of the Jedi, to actually work with me to show the critic that they're proud of their product. Unfortunately, with my first impressions, I was really hoping it was going to be good. It didn't 100% work that way, but I would say In my mind, that's an integrity move. Now, a lot of people won't feel that way. They think I'm a shill yes man. I don't know how you can think that after watching my live stream, but if you still do, you still do. And I can't do anything to change that. But what I will say is I thought it was an integrity move. And I really did like the build of the cabinet. I thought there were a lot of positives, but unfortunately, there were some mistakes that just make it not as good as the old arcade one-up Star Wars, and definitely not something that you should, I don't know the right term, upgrade to, because it's not an upgrade. It is, in fact, a downgrade. And looking at most of their cabs, you're going to notice the exact same thing as well. So what I wanted to do tonight was not to continue to tear them down, but to offer a roadmap to success, to offer some suggestions about how they can improve their product, how going forward they can make better products that not only can they be proud of, like I'm sure they were proud of their first product, but that the community will be proud of as well and kind of support them going forward. So that's the idea that we're going with tonight. Before we do that, I do have a poll up. And as Meatball Saucy was kind enough to point out to me earlier, I did make a mistake in the poll, so let's throw that out there. Can basic fun arcade classics turn the community's opinion around of them around, not of the around, of them around? So far, I put the poll up 6 hours ago. We already have 81 votes. Thank you so much, everybody, for throwing that out there, for taking participation in the poll. So far we're at 22% says yes, it only takes one game, which is something we've said in the home arcade community for years with Arcade 1-Up. If they come out with one stellar game tomorrow, we're going to be like, yes, Arcade 1-Up is back. So that's very possible. I think that it's more along the lines of maybe it will depend on changes, and many changes they will need to make. That one is at 36% currently. And then in the lead, but only slightly, is no, I have lost faith. And I know a lot of my friends feel the same way. They just don't have any faith in basic fun based on the products that have come out so far. And I don't think that's fair necessarily. And then coming in last, recreations aren't my things. Maybe you're purely a multi-K guy and you could give a shit less about these. That's possible too. So anyways, that's the poll. So if you haven't already, please go ahead, vote, let your opinion be heard. Let's do that in the poll. Now, also on top of that, because one thing that the negative people and my detractors say about me is that I'm a grifter. I'm only here for money. I'm trying to farm super chats from people. They are 100% correct. And in order to do that, tonight, we have our traditional double down. We're going on the other side of things for the double down, because you got to be fair to these companies. If we're going to give Basic Fun a list on how they become the number one name and the number one relied on brand in home arcade, we also have to do the same thing for Arcade 1-Up. Tell Arcade 1-Up how they can stay on top. So tonight's double down, if we hit our 5 super chats and you guys pay me my money, I don't even have it up yet. That's not the right one. Hold on, I gotta add it. In all my work, I still didn't add it. What a jerk, man. Jeez, this guy is ridiculous. He wants money and he can't even do this right. Hold on. There we go. Hold on. Yes, there it is. Just 1 second for it to upload, and then I'll show it to everybody. I do want your money. So if you want to support me by doing 5 super chats, $2 or more, then we will hit the double down later on, where we're going to talk about, can they hold the crown? Can Arcade 1-Up still be the number one home arcade recreation company in the community? So I've got a couple examples there you can see, some of which are very, very easy layups. So we'll talk about that as well in the double down later tonight, once you guys pay me my money. Oh, get back out there, media assets. I got to take that off. I see Neo's comment there, and a lot of people are making these comments lately. I wouldn't count on Arcade 1-Up doing anything, including surviving. I don't know about that. I don't think everybody knows as much as they do know. It's always possible. I mean, right now they've got that SpongeBob claw machine out at Costco. That probably saved them for another year. Let's see what next year brings. Maybe it'll be nothing. Maybe it'll be something. We'll see in just a little while. JJ says, hope Basic Fun has learned from all the backlash and steps up their quality and commitment to making cabs the right way. I agree with that. I will say, like, if you've watched some of the videos out there, their build quality is really good. Their products, like the side panels, all that stuff is really, really good. It's high quality, like, for this stuff. Like, if you expect it to be like real wood and stuff like that, it's not, but like the actual materials feel good. Everything goes together well, and it feels like a really solid build. In fact, I like it. I think it's actually a quicker build than Arcade 1-Up. How can we expect Basic Fun to be a good product if we can't even get good home arcade YouTube? I know. I don't know what to tell you, man. Everything's been downhill since Arcade 1-Up Weekly went away. I don't know what to tell you. Pac-Man Neon has been more of a hit than Basic Fun stuff. Maybe. Hey, wish I was a rock star. I'm still holding out faith in Basic Fun's XL Supreme cabs. If those suck like they're ultras, then I will give up on them. Good to hear from you. Wish I was a rock star. He actually wrote me on Facebook, and I saw his message, but I didn't get a chance to reply. He messaged me back last night while I was out at my brother's birthday dinner, and I finally got back to him. Thank you so much for still coming back on me and not giving up on me because I didn't write you back right away. I appreciate it. Damn, I tried to send a penny super chat, which is like $10 Canadian, and it wouldn't let me. No. I don't want any of your penny super chats. It's got to be $2 or more. We did get a real super chat here from Nooner, who's trying to push us along to get that double down. I feel like Mike subliminally forces me to buy shitty products and super chats because I can't think for myself. That's what I do. You guys are all so influenced by me that you're not adults. You can't make your own decisions. And even in my videos, when I tell you something's not good, I've somehow bamboozled you into buying it anyways, right? So thank you very much for the super chat. You ever thought about doing a YouTube channel and having a show? That's a good idea, Garage Gamer. You should start doing that. All right, guys. So with all that out of the way, we'll get to some easy stuff here. So let me just bring this up on screen. And this is what I wanted to start with tonight. This is a cab we've all seen quite a few times already. And this is the Basic Fun Centipede. Let me find a better presentation model now. Here we go. So this is the Basic Fun Centipede. And this is the cab that got me started and excited in Basic Fun because I was hopeful. I was so disappointed with Arcade 1-Up's last Centipede cab, as you guys know it, because it had a horizontal screen, had a bad monitor, everything else about the cab looked fantastic, but I wanted a horizontal screen and I wanted a good monitor. And I was like, oh, thank God that Basic Fun are going to come along and do these things. But then Basic Fun does come along, and the question is this cabinet even better than the original Arcade 1-Up one a couple of years ago? So the only thing that this cabinet, in my opinion, has above the Arcade 1-Up Centipede from a couple of years ago is the fact that it is a deluxe all-in-one format. There is no riser. But let's go take a look at the original cab here on Liberty Games. Close. Get out of here, Liberty Games. So here's the original cab. And right off the bat, I'm going to bring up this right here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has a faux coin door. This does not have a weird logo on the front, no Atari logo, nothing like that. It has a faux coin door. So, of course, the first layup for Basic Fun, what they can do with their Ultra line of cabs to really step it up a notch and compete directly with Arcade 1-Up and make the community happy. See this front panel? This is what all your Ultra cabs should look like. I know that you are going to be putting faux coin doors on your Supreme cabs, and that's one of the differentiators, but you can differentiate in a different way. These aren't expensive. They make a huge deal for the arcade. It's something the arcade community has asked for years. Do yourself a massive favor, and on your next wave of cab releases, just put a faux coin door on it. If you want to differentiate with the Supremes, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you light up the coin door, coin in buttons on the door. Same thing that Arcade 1-Up did with some of their XL cabs and their Pro cab. So that's how you differentiate between the two coin doors, but you have to at least offer a coin door. So that's the first one I am going to suggest. Now, the other thing I'm going to suggest, which is a layup, which should be, again, easy peasy, is right here on your cab. Might not be a big deal for everybody, but speaker grills, they're going to be on your Supreme cabs, but for some reason you left them off your Ultra cabs. Now, what you have to realize, Basic Fun, is every single thing you do, you're going to be compared to what Arcade 1-Up does with their deluxe model, especially where you were coming out at the exact same price point as the deluxe model, and then you raise your price by $100, obviously because of tariff issues, and God only knows Arcade 1-Up, when they finally release new cabs next year, might have to do the same thing. But if you're going to be at a competitive price, whether that's $100 more or even with Arcade 1-Up, you have to provide the same level of quality. So you have to provide speaker grills, and you have to provide a faux coin door. So very easy, very simple. How you immediately improve your Ultra line of products include two of those things. If you agree with me, throw a 1 up in the chat. If you disagree, those things aren't important to you, throw a 0 up. I want to see your guys' feedback. Oh, and while we're waiting for that, we do have a couple pinball chats. I just want to get super chats. We just got to get to here now. I super chat from the heart, and not because of anything to do with compromising information you have on me and my lackluster penis. He's so modest. It's not lackluster. It's just average. Thank you very much, Jason Little Alien. We're now at, I believe, 3 of 5, because we also got another one for Chris Ford here. PCB money, and don't worry, friends, that was the big thing last week. We did secure the PCB. I now have a Marvel vs. Capcom PCB for my Big Blue, but the hunt is still on. I'm still searching, trying to get a Super Street Fighter 2, the new Challengers PCB as well. Neo brings up a really good point. One of the other good things about the Basic Fun cabs that are an immediate win that I didn't mention with the Centipede cab is the lack of screw holes. With the new cam lock system that some people don't like, there are no screw holes. Everything's internal, so I actually really like that as well. I thought that was a good thing. And very much huge thank you to B. Kirby, the Chicago arcade guy. 10 Michael B. memberships gifted out. Congratulations to everybody who got a membership. Now we're going to go down and try to see the ones here. Mike Hockerts, Neo's Arcade News 1 all day, Real Zim 1, Elio 1, Tim York 1, B Kirby 1, JJ 1, Sir Sega 1, PB and J 1. Seems like it's straight across the board that every single person feels like Basic Fun, you are selling yourself short by not including speaker grills and a faux coin door. So with Wave 2 coming up, just to be announced right after Christmas at CES, you know, that Turtles cab we all think is coming, make sure that you put some speaker grills and a faux coin door on that, and I think that'll lead you in the right direction. So again, congratulations to everybody who got a membership from B. Kirby. Perfect Storm says basic shit. I don't agree with that. I think they've made some mistakes, but I think they can be better. And I'm trying to help them with that. That's the idea behind. But they shouldn't be Supreme features. That's the thing I don't get, because that's not a Supreme feature. That's a feature of the deluxe cabs that the competitor is selling at the same or a lower price point. So, I mean, the fact that Basic Fun isn't going to offer those just makes their cabs look less thin. So that's immediately a stat or something I don't like. Anyways, guys, I want to go back to the image I was just showing you. I got to get out of this. So let me find this one again. Oh my God. Is this the right one? Yes. Those are Supreme features. I think they need parity with Arcade 1-Up Deluxe. It's an expectation at that price point. Completely agree, Neo. Completely agree. Anyways, I wanted to go back to this and talk about a couple other things. One of the other thing that I think is a big win on this, that I think Basic Fun are actually making a big mistake on. You guys are going to hate this, is the side art. I love the side art on this cabinet. It broke my heart that this had a TN monitor and it was not a vertical screen, that it was a horizontal screen, because it was one of the first times I've seen a Centipede cab done from Arcade 1-Up where the side art was so good. If you remember on the original 3/4 that did in fact have a vertical screen, unfortunately the side art was messed up, and then they had a weird worded centipede going up here that I absolutely hated. That drove me nuts. But everything else in the cab was absolutely beautiful. But this cab was incredibly beautiful. But then if you go take a look at what Basic Fun have, they have that same logo there. But for some reason, they had the artwork all pushed to the bottom of the screen. I don't know why they're doing this, but they do this with all their arcade releases, except for Star Wars Return of the Jedi, which I greatly appreciate. Thanks for not doing it on that one. But with WrestleFest, with Centipede, with the upcoming Turtles cab, like we saw, it looks like they're pushing the side art down to the bottom of the cab when it should be more centered up to top, realistically. Oh, here we go. We hit our goal. So we're doing the double down. First, we got a $5 super chat from my buddy Stock Jock. I got to get my pickle. It's in my other room where I actually do my work in my son's room, which also is my business office accounting room. And that's where I've got my self-motivation pickle. I keep my pickle where I need it the most, Stock Jock. I asked the Dr. Dingus Mystical Pickle if I should super chat, and it said, I'm not 100% sure. Luckily, it didn't say no. Yes. Thank you very much, Stock Jock. And then, of course, James Hates Everything with the 267 super chat. Thank you very much for the keeper of the gates. That is me. That is I. If your channel is failing on YouTube, if you're not getting the viewership you like, or if you've been blocked on other channels, it's obviously my fault because somehow I'm the worst human that ever lived. So thank you very much, James. Office 50 Shades of Grey room. You're not wrong. Wait, what are we doing with the pickle? That's in the members only after show. Yes, I agree, Neo Severa, 100%. So that is another area where I think, honestly, if you go back to the Arcade 1-Up one from a couple of years ago, it's better. Like, honestly, the Basic Fun is not an upgrade. Then, unfortunately, we have to talk about the screen, and I want to talk about this specifically. You guys know that one of my... Bobby, I would never block you. I blocked a lot of other people, though. But one of the other big disappointments with this was the fact that during this time, Arcade 1-Up apparently was having supply chain issues. BOE monitors weren't hard to come by, weren't easy to come by, so they decided to go back to an old favorite of theirs from Wave 1, which are their old TN monitors, and they put TN monitors in there. Unfortunately, the TN monitors they used to get have changed. They now have a new light source, and unfortunately, the picture was very distorted on the 5.4 TN monitors they were using. So I said, here comes Basic Fun. At least we're going to get a BOE monitor with Basic Fun. That's what you would assume. Wrong. It's the exact same monitors that they had used previously. So what we got with the monitor between the Arcade 1-Up Centipede and this Centipede is the exact same monitor. So there is no upgrade in the monitor. Wish I was a rock star. $1.99 super chat. Thank you very much, my man. $1.99 double down show. Let's go. And of course, I forgot to use any of my super chat videos, so I'm going to use my absolute favorite.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a shitload of money.
Thank you very much, my man. This is a beautiful cabinet to mod. I'm sure it is. Listen, guys, I'm not crapping on anybody who got it. You got to wait for the entire mission here, the entire speech I'm giving out to explain what I'm doing. So, unfortunately, it had the same TN monitor. Again, not an upgrade from the original Arcade 1-Up Atari cab. But one area that is a downgrade, which I want to get to in just a second. I've got to go down here. Is I want to talk about the control panel. And right here, what do we have right here on this control panel? You've got two volcano buttons that aren't on the basic fun Centipede. They decided to replace these with normal buttons and also no spinner. Apparently, no spinner. So while you can play games like you can play Tempest, it unfortunately doesn't have the right controls. And of course, you also don't have the volcano buttons, which don't cost a fortune. I know James hates everything, hates them, but something like this, which is such a small touch and adds so much more authenticity to one of these toy arcades, means a lot. It would have been nice if they could have at least tried to recreate that. And yes, last but not least, with this, basic fun Centipede, unfortunately, it does not save scores. So I'm going to take this down for just a second because I want to give a shout out here to a new YouTuber that's been covering this stuff quite a bit. He actually picked up the Centipede Basic Fun Cab, and I know I'm going to go all wonky, and my chat's going to go funny when I do this. But I want to bring this guy up on screen. Take James down. So move myself up. Here we go, guys. This is what's his name again? Retro Batcade, I think it's called. Retro Batcade, and he actually picked up the Centipede cab, and he was very fond of it. And I actually agree with him on a lot of his points. Like, I think the build quality is great. It seems like they're trying to be a really good company. They're serious about this. They're just making very bad mistakes. Now, the one thing that is kind of funny about this, the poor guy, he says A+ quality build, and then you get that look at the screen. Now, I'm also going to defend him a little bit. I will tell you 100%, for some reason, cameras do not pick up how good the screen is. The screen looks much worse from cameras. But of course, we're looking at it from that same left angle, which I showed you guys on the Star Wars cab the other night. And this is, in fact, that TN monitor again. It's washed out, so it shows that. But everything else with the cab looks pretty good. So yes, thank you very much, Jason, for putting that up. You can check out Retro Batcade's channel here. I know this is one of Cornercade's favorite new YouTubers. He's amazed by how quickly he's gained subscribers. He's not at all pissy about it or selfish. Like, he's just really impressed with this guy. So, go check out Retro Batcade. Yeah, he does a really good job. Like, I remember his first job was his unboxing. This is it. And it was his first YouTube video, and it's really good. So good job to him. I have no problem giving credit where it's credit's due. He got the product. He made a good video. Guys, go check him out. Vito, you are so wrong, my man. As somebody who's owned like 17, 18, realistically 40 arcade one-ups, it's not just an OLED. If you were looking at any arcade one-up BOE monitor from the side, it looks better than that. Yes, Naughty List, IPS has better viewing angles, but crappier contrast ratio. I agree. Screen looks like a white Jimmy Buffett concert. Dude, he bought subs. So did you. You jerk. If you go over the PS5 price, it must be perfect. You can't skip out on the monitor, marquee, online functionality, or coin door unless you use Star Wars. Then you have one exception. He's doing something right. I agree. Perfect Storm Gaming knows. Yes, I know BOE isn't a tech, but it's a name we associate with quality here in the home arcade space because that's usually where you go. I know it's crazy. I'm no longer gatekeeping. It's almost like I was never doing it, and people are assholes. So anyways, guys, let me take that down and get back to it. So the reason why I'm going so in detail with Centipede is I'm trying to show basic fun very simply that there's a list out there of the mistakes Arcade One Up made, and I'm trying to put this across to make it clear to you guys. This is not just us bitching or being overcritical. These are real serious community concerns. So, if anybody's got a notepad there and anybody's working for Basic Fun, what I'm trying to show you is a very simple list of how to learn from both the successes and failures of Arcade One Up. So, looking at that centipede screen, obviously, you're going to want to focus on having a very good screen. You can't just buy something based off advice. You have to get it. You have to try it in person. You have to try it from the angles and find out if it's going to work for you. So with these TN monitors, you can get really good TN monitors. TN monitors aren't necessarily the bad thing that we all talk about them being. It's just the TN monitors that you guys have bought here with this Centipede cab and that Arcade One Up bought for several of their later releases that they had TN monitors on were bad and had bad viewing angles. Sure, you can get a good look at the picture straight on, but from viewing angles and stuff like that, it does get washed out. And even though you would think that's not a problem because most people are going to be right there at the arcade, it is a really big problem for our community. So even though TN monitors do say they have a higher refresh rate, which is supposed to be better than games, we don't want them. I don't know what you can do. I know it's probably a logistics issue with BOE, availability issue that, they weren't going to be able to supply you in time to get the cab out. So it was delayed a little bit, but really, really source other monitors, whatever you've got to do. If you can't rely on BOE to provide those monitors, try to find somebody else and really do some research on the way that the monitor is lit. The monitor should be backlit or even edge lighting. You can't go with something like this that's edge lit from one side. It's going to be a very, very big problem. So that's the truth. And that's what I'm trying to help you with. Again, like I mentioned earlier, with the speaker grills and with the faux coin doors, these are really easy additions you guys should be putting on your Ultra cabs. It would at least meet with the quality of what Arcade One Up previously did with the deluxe models. It's what we expect at this price point. Please include them. Then when it comes to the art, you guys are putting the art way too low. The art needs to be centered to a little bit centered more higher. I know that's a challenge because sometimes you're going to have to cut some of the art off to fit it on the shape of the cabinet, but that's what we're buying them for. We want accurate recreations, not recreations with art pushed all the way down to the bottom of the cab where it doesn't make sense and doesn't look good. Then you've got all that dead space up top where you're either going to have to jam a logo that doesn't fit or just leave it dead space. So I wanted to make these things very clear. And I hope that makes sense. There's more too. There's more too. Very easy ones that people have mentioned earlier that we'll get into. They're probably thinking, you picky bastards. No, that's not fair, man. These are serious. Like, this is not just a picky bastard type thing. Like, they have come out with a product that realistically should trounce Arcade One Up, should absolutely decimate them. And, Iron forges iron. That's what we wanted. Somebody that was going to come out and offer a better product that was going to force either Arcade One Up to compete or we would get the better product from this other company. And they have come out strong. They've done some really good stuff. I think they're moving in a good direction. I have a lot of hope for them. But, some of these things they're doing are actually making them seem like a secondary product to Arcade One Up, which is wild. So there you go. I'm joking. I know. I experimented in college. It's why one of my testes is lower than the other. We'll leave it at that. I don't know what I just walked into, MG. I have no idea. If they cost the same as Arcade One Up, they need to be just as good. Just that simple, if not lower the price. Well, they might have to, right? That's a very good comment. I can't disagree with that. Like, I want this company to be successful. I'm not pointing out these issues to dissuade people from supporting them or buying them. I'm pointing out these issues because these are things the company can look out for that will really go a long way to making people feel more comfortable with their product, adding a higher level of quality and reliability to the product they're putting out. Does that make sense? Hey, thank you very much, Chaotic. We talked about you earlier. I love you, brother. Good to see you. My nickname was Low Hanging Fruit. I can believe it. I can believe it. So there is one other thing that um, we do have to talk about, and it relates to the Star Wars gameplay that I did a little bit earlier. And I do want to be honest about this, and it does go back to the Centipede cab again. So I'm going to bring up the dude's review again. I got to share screen again. So sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Oh, it's already up. Perfect. So let me bring his screen back up, and he's going to talk about some gameplay stuff. And one of the things that there is emulation. So, when Arcade One Up first came out, they took like the base ROMs and used emulators that were questionable whether or not it was okay to use, according to some people. But the emulation has to be good. Now, this is what I want to talk about right here. Like this guy talks about, oh, we have the Arcade One Up, we have the arcade version of Tempest on this cab. This is something that Arcade One Up did with the last Centipede cab. It's something they did with their Tempest cab. Not with Centipede here, because Centipede was stretched. But if you look at this arcade version of Tempest, this is a horizontal stretch version. This is not your vertical version of Tempest. So while Tempest is playable, even though it doesn't have the right controls, it it's stretched. It's the same as on the Atari Game Station Go. The version is there, but it's stretched. It's not in the right vertical format. It doesn't look like it should. So, anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. But anyways, the thing about it is you're going to have to work with somebody to emulate these games. And if you are working with someone to emulate games, especially older games that use vector graphics and stuff like that, you're going to want to research and use somebody that's good. You don't want to just use the cheapest option available to you. And I got some comments from people in the whole modding and emulation community after my stream Saturday night. Again, I have to do a lot more gameplay. My initial reactions were with Star Wars. The emulation on the two vector games wasn't great. There was problems with like the shots coming at you, getting a little bit blurry. Some other people noticed some missing characters at times, and it just didn't look good. Is some of that the screen? Is some of that the way it's emulated and the screen doesn't pick it up as well? I don't know all the answers to that. I'm not a scientist, believe it or not. So the thing about it is when you're dealing with emulation like that, you have to remember that you're selling a premium product here. Anything above $500 or above is considered to be a premium product. And you're going to have to do so much to get the artwork, to get the package right that you're selling. But at its core, it's still a game system. So the games need to be good. So what I would say is, I don't know who you had do the emulation. I'm not saying they're bad, but you have to rigorously test this. I don't know who's testing this stuff. If you have people employed that are serious gamers that know, the details of the emulation and stuff like that, I'll be the first to admit, like, I am not a hardcore gamer. You're never going to see me in a gaming challenge thing. I'm not the best. I'm pretty good at some games, but I play to have fun. But I will notice when something is wrong, obviously. But, you got to have some really good play testers that aren't modern play testers. You got to have people that are looking at this stuff and able to pick out these differences. Like, this stuff shouldn't come out when the product comes out. You got to be able to catch it. These are mistakes Arcade One Up famously made. The good thing about emulation issues and stuff like that, if it's emulation issues, is you can fix it with an update. So I'll go back to Centipede. One of the big fails with Centipede, of course, is the fact that the high scores don't save. This is something that can possibly be fixed with an update. And we've already seen with your basic fun WrestleFest countercades, you've been willing to do updates on those. So that's good news. It possibly means that you're willing to also work on updates. You can update the Centipede cab, whatever it is in the Centipede cab, to get it to save high scores. I think that'll, cause a lot of people to have less of a negative taste in their mouth towards that cabinet. A lot of people that bought it really like it, but that's a huge sticking point for people. So it can be fixed. That's the thing. With Star Wars, I've got a lot more work to do in playtesting and getting ready for my review. But if the emulation is slightly off, again, that's something that you should be able to patch. So that's good as well. With the cost, I expect accuracy. Otherwise, I'll just play on my MAME multicade. Yeah, that's 100%. Like I talk about that with the outside presentation as well. There's a million different ways we can play the game. So, if you're just providing the game, you got to make sure the package is in looks nice. And I think all the packages that you have put together look nice, but could be a little bit better. That's what I will say. Well, it was given to me as a review cab. So I can't exactly send it back. It's not like I bought it, John B. There is only one version. Update that Macho Man DLC. I would love to see them do that. I mean, I don't know if that's possible, but man, if they could update those rosters for WrestleFest, go out and pay the guys, work out whatever the licensing hijinks are, that would be amazing. People would be so happy with that. Looking forward to consuming my Friday night beverage in my new Galaga Guy 88 glass. That's awesome, man. I love the support you guys show for Sheldon. He deserves it, man. Good dude. You can buy a real arcade for the price of this junk. I love getting these comments. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. I know me and my buddy Brian, we've been looking at an arcade in his place for a while that was listed at $500, dropped to $350, and man, what a great deal! What a great deal! No, won't be doing that, Garage Gamer. I'm going to keep it 100%. Like, there's no chance of me not keeping it. No, I did not contact them about the Vector Glow. I should. I just assumed they would have watched my video, but I will contact them. What the hell? Yes, that would make such a big difference when those Supremes come out. If they can update the rosters, oh, chef's kiss. That would be a huge deal because I'm telling you right now, if they can fix those roster issues, I will literally be the first in line to buy that Supreme cab, 100%. Honestly, after I've seen what I've seen from the Star Wars cab so far, outside the issues I've mentioned, like in terms of the build quality, if I know that thing's going to have a BOE monitor and the right rosters, I would be all in. Nice package. There you go, Thumper Squid, just for you. Need Ric Flair. I don't know about that. I actually want to take a minute and I want to bring this up really quickly. So sorry, guys. I just got to find this. Oh, typewriter time. See if I can find this video from my buddy. Yes, here it is. So wrestling clips monetized for showing any live clips from wrestlers at all. But my buddy Mike Worley, who you might have seen on my show there a couple days ago, put out this video earlier today. He actually picked up the WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge from Basic Fun and found out they actually replaced some of the wrestlers on it. So it is the WrestleMania Steel Cage Challenge game we all know from the NES, but unfortunately, Macho Man Randy Savage and I forget who the other person they had to take out was. Macho Man and the Mountie had to come out. They actually replaced him with the Ultimate Warrior and Razor Ramon. So go check out my buddy Bad Guy Mike Worley as he reviews this cabinet and yeah, see what he thinks about it and give his channel a like. He's a good dude. He deserves it. I'll still reach out to him anyways. That's a good point. I should contact them about that and give them a heads up, see if there's anything they can do about it. That's a really good idea. So anyways, guys, like I don't want to belabor this too long on the Basic Fun side, but I think those are some of the big things they could do, like avoid Arcade 1-Up's mistakes. The stuff with the TM monitors is a real bummer. I mean, this is something that, should be 100% Like, even the WrestleFest stuff, like, we kept pointing back to NFL Blitz and saying, like, if you can't do the game right, maybe don't do it at all. And there's a million different things that could happen in that. Like, they might have been too far along in the process, yada, 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 all that stuff. But with the TN monitor situation, this was a very well documented issue. Like, this is one of the reasons Arcade One Up were in a lot of trouble. Like, honestly, they came out with these cabs, Centipede, Mortal Kombat 30th, Pac-Mania, and people like just shit on the brand. It's also probably what stalled the XL line, is because they had these shitty TM monitors in the Golden Tee and also the Shack Jam cab. So, Arcade One Up made a mistake. They went with those monitors, and Basic Fun should know the difference. I mean, they've got Cyrus there now. He lived through that experience. So, I mean, Cyrus, everybody blames you for everything. I'm not going to blame you, but impart some of your knowledge about the damage those monitors cause to the reputation, to the brand, and avoid those monitors going forward at all costs. Go out if you can't get the BOE monitors, the IPS monitors we're looking for, and you can only find TN monitors. Make sure you get ones with proper edge lighting or backlighting, not something that's edge lit from one side that is going to cause these issues, because people shit all over it. No, I don't want that at all. Neo Severa, like, kudos to Unico for what they're doing. I'm very interested to see these full size cabs that they're making in the future that are either going to be licensed or they're going to be I keep forgetting the term. They're going to be, homages of real cabs. I'm very excited for that. And I am actually going to buy something from Unico in the very near future, I think, and probably review it, where I just bought that real Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2 Big Blue. I'm probably going to buy one of their 26-inch monitors. So I like Unico, but the Raiden cab's not for me. Like, I mean, if I'm not going to buy a Nova Blast because it's $1,800 here in Canada, that's a generic Nova Blast, I'm certainly not going to buy a Unico Nova Blast that has Raiden artwork and stuff on it. That's not for me either. So, yeah, there you go. See, now the MG gets it. I have said many times, despite what other people say about you, you're one of the smartest and fairest people here in the community. And what you say right here absolutely resonates with me. And it's the reason I wanted to make this video tonight. I think Basic Fun cabs are a good first attempt. Maybe with feedback, we'll have a second wave that rocks. Yes, that's exactly what we're trying to do, MG. We're trying to move the whole process further. We're trying to help Basic Fun. We're not trying to shit all over them. We're trying to say, hey guys, you made a couple errors in your first couple cabs. These are some things you should watch out for and not do again in the future. These are mistakes that the community know about. But then in turn, this is one of the things, and it's going to lead back to what I'm going to talk about in my Star Wars review in the next couple of days. You got to look at the successes too. You look at how good a job that Arcade One Up did with that Star Wars cab, and you've got to pay attention to that. Pay attention to the monitor they use. Pay attention to the company they actually paid to emulate the game. You've got to take a look at what made that product so good and ask yourself, can you replicate that? You did a great job with the yoke. You did an amazing job recreating the yoke. Love the yoke. I actually, even though it doesn't match the arcade, I love the artwork. I actually love the shape of the cab when you get it there. I wish the control panel was a little bit higher, but there's a lot of things to like about this cab. It's just, again, those two things I said with the emulation and with the monitor, that's where you should have looked at why Arcade One Up Star Wars was so good and made sure you didn't come in less than that. Eat all my eggs with the yolk. Yeah, I might actually. I've got to look at it. So there you go. Hopefully they will listen and apply that feedback. I have glazed MG in the past, but I don't know if it's the same glazing you're talking about, if you know what I mean. The good, the bad, and of course the ugly shortcomings. 100% meatball saucy. Yeah, if Basic Fun doesn't overly turn inward and get self-absorbed with community culture and cut out the community, they stand a good chance of bringing out exciting options. Hope they listen. That was one of the problems with Arcade One Up, like community bad, because there's a lot of people out there that they make a living. They make a living off absolutely running these companies into the ground, shitting on these companies, saying they're the worst thing in the world, and that's how they grift to get YouTube money, super chats, and stuff like that. And I have never tried to be that way. I have expressed dissatisfaction when it's something I don't like, and I don't want to be the overly negative person. I want these companies to get better. I want them to take my feedback and move in the right direction. That's what I've always tried to do. Doesn't always work, and I suppose it can come across as constantly negative. But when you keep making mistakes, I'm sorry. I'm not going to glaze you and say, no, it's awesome. Keep doing you. uh When Arcade One Up was selling at its peak, I'm sure the community represented a small percentage of those. Maybe, I don't know. Like, none of us actually know the inside sales numbers of Arcade One Up. We don't know what they are. We're told a lot of times that this is a mainstream product. We don't give a shit about what a niche community thinks, and maybe that's true. But yeah, like a Garage Gamer, if you watch my live stream Saturday, I don't know how I could have been more brutally honest. I'm always honest in my reviews. If you guys can't pick up on what I'm telling you, I will say again, I blame that on you, not me. Because if I tell you the screen's washed out and then you're like, oh, he said that cab was great, you missed it, not me. I didn't miss telling you. You missed picking it up. Anyways, guys, that's enough about Basic Fun. Let's flip the coin and let's talk about how Arcade One Up can hold off the coming charge from Basic Fun and put themselves back in a position of success and winning in the home arcade space. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you guys to plug your ears, because I think this one is a little bit too loud as a video, and it's meant to be loud because it's meant to be obnoxious. It's time for the Michael B. Double Down. Write this down, Vito. You think this mess is written down? You give me entirely too much credit about my production and preparation. 100% scripted. Anyways, double down. So we're going to be talking about how Arcade One Up can make a comeback. You probably saw the comments from Neo's Arcade News. Rumors are going around, and I think they're intentionally planted rumors in a lot of cases that Arcade One Up aren't going to survive next year. That's the stuff that's being, I'm not saying Neo's saying that, but there is a lot of rumblings that there's no hope for Arcade One Up going forward. And we thought that for the last couple of years, but they always managed to squeak something out. They don't release anything new, but they're still alive. So I don't know about, Arcade One Up being in the level of trouble that people are implying they're in, but it's looking pretty grim, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be that grim for Arcade One Up. Arcade One Up, really, like we've been saying for the last little while, one good release from really getting back in the good graces of people. Me, myself, and I'm sure many people in the community, all it would take is one good release and people will be back. That's it. We're back. Arcade One Up is back. Exactly. That's what it's meant to be. Nooner knows. Yeah, they've been dying for 3 years. How does Michael B stop the hair dye from dripping down to his beard? You know what, MG? It's one of the things I hate the most. I would rather my hair just went gray up top than my beard go gray. My beard going gray has caused a lot of problems because as a fat man, one of the good things about having a beard is it made me look better even though I was fat. But once the beard went all white and gray, I can't hide behind that as much anymore. And I've actually had to grow my beard out a little bit longer. I used to only have like a fuzz here before, but now not so much. When they can finally announce they've named me the CEO, shit will get real. Yes, you're on the cornercade path, I see, James. With Arcade One Up, I'm going to say this. I think with Arcade One Up, I think they have to keep doing XL. Well, I'll go back to the picture, and there's a couple things I want to bring up here about Arcade One Up, and I'll be the first to tell you that what's sad is I actually really like their deluxe cabs. So I have a couple deluxe cabs now. I've got Street Fighter 2 Deluxe, which I think is absolutely beautiful. I have this Mortal Kombat Deluxe. I think it's a really good cab. The problem with it is I would rather see it in XL. I would rather have a 19-inch screen. I would rather have the bigger version of this, kind of like I have in my KI cab. I'm sure a lot of people want to see it too. So the first thing I would say, one of the big mistakes that Arcade One Up made, and one thing they can do to win us back, is they did a snatch grab. They got all our hopes up with this XL line and then with the Pro line, and then there was no follow through. So one thing I think Arcade One Up can do to win a lot of people's interest back is make another XL cab. And the one that I have up on the screen right now, if Arcade One Up announced they were making a Mortal Kombat 2 tomorrow with all the Mortal Kombat games on there, you don't even need to add Mortal Kombat 4. You just need to add these games. I think everybody would be very happy. Everybody would take that as a win for Arcade One Up. So the first thing I will say that Arcade One Up can do to get it back in the good graces with a lot of people in the community is make more XL cabs, and maybe a Mortal Kombat, because we know that's a license you probably still have. That's a cab you're still making. So yeah, yeah, I love this comment, and I'm sorry. I know wish I was a Rockstar. You're in bed with your kid. Don't look. Tell them not to look at this one. They effed us in the drive-through with the XLs. That's 100%. So that's the first thing I can say that Arcade One Up can do if they want to get back in the good graces. Make bigger cabs, make more XL cabs. Specifically, if you only have a few licenses right now, make a Mortal Kombat XL. I think everybody would love that. And I know I'm talking into the wind on that one. I've been saying it for years, but I can't say it enough. I think that is one thing that me personally, as a customer of yours, I was so invested in your XL cabs. I started selling off my 3/4 scale cabs, and I was like, I'm going all XL. And I know I'm not the only one who did it. And it was a real bummer to find out how little you were interested in doing XLs, how it was a 1-a-year thing from Costco. So I think you could do more. I would like to see you guys do more. Obviously, it's a winning business model. There's a future for it with Basic Fun doing their Supreme cabs in the very near future. So Arcade One Up, make more XLs. That's the first one. I think nobody will be surprised by what I'm about to say right now, but I think another thing Arcade One Up has to do, release a new game. I think it's great that people can access Mortal Kombat 2 Deluxe, Pac-Man Deluxe. I think it's great that they can get Golden Tee. They can get these other ones. But, oh my God, release a new game already. It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years just about since you announced Time Crisis, and nothing new since. You can't tell me there's not a single retailer that is willing to buy a new release from you. There has to be one. Spreetail seems willing. Give them a call. You know, they're apparently the ones that got you over the hump and made you guys do Time Crisis. So do something new. I know you're short on cash. I know it's hard because you can't do the molds, you can't do the emulation, all that stuff. But seriously, I think we're at the point that if E3 or not E3, CES happens, or we get into 2026 and your 2026 lineup comes out and you don't have a new release, I think people are just going to give up for you. They're just going to say, well, we're gone. Like, we don't believe on this at all. Like, there's no future in this. So you've put out ads, the #1 home arcade in America. If you want to keep that title, you've got to come out with new titles. Like a couple of years ago, we had this great tease, Alien versus Predator and all this other stuff. Whatever you can do, by all means, figure out how to release a new game, because nothing will make people feel more comfortable with your company and have more faith in what you're doing than you guys releasing a new title. And if you can't release a new title, release the Defender Partycade, but not as a Partycade. Do it as a 3/4 scale cab with the proper controls. I guarantee you, I'll at least buy that one. And then you'll have to find 2,999 other people to buy the rest of the cabs. But at least you'll sell one to me and I'll be happy. Make a Defender cab. Meatball, that's the $100 million question. We all expect them to make. We expect them to make the products we want. We'll buy them because that in turn will help them make money. If that makes sense. But I think you're 100% right. I think at the end of the day, well, you listen to Quarter Arcades, and if you believe what the guys say there, they're not making a lot of money off this. They're not really doing it and, going to retire off what they do with Quarter Arcades. They do it as a passion. And I think a lot of people expect these companies to do it as well. Arcade 1-Up is very obviously not a passion project. It's a business, and they have to be a business for first and foremost. That's why they've been so low risk over the course of the last couple of years. They haven't released anything new because I don't think their financial situation is good at all. Like it's been well documented. James, with all his legal Beagle report work, has got all that information up about them getting the loan out from the last company, Alliance Entertainment, against their accounts receivable, which is very dodgy stuff, very dodgy shit. So, maybe they just didn't have the money for it, but yeah, jeez. Well, I mean, good products, bad products, whatever it is, I will say that's not 100% fair because when the companies put out really bad products, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's not as much fun, man. It's not as much fun talking about this stuff, speculating. Like we're at a point where we can't even speculate with Arcade 1-Up anymore because there's no point. There's no faith that they're going to do something new, and we're not going to believe they're going to do something new until they actually do it. I put it up in the poll. It all takes one cab, and I think that's the truth. I think a lot of these rumors in the community of Arcade 1-Up being on the outs, of them not having a path forward or a future forward, relies heavily on the fact that they can't release a new game. But if they release one new game and it's done well, I think that will do wonders for the community to move the entire company forward, rumors. And if it's a good game, it'll also sell well as well. They just can't make another bad investment. They can't do another NFL Blitz. They can't do another Simpsons. They've got to do a new title that's going to be successful for them, that's going to be an anchor for them, but they've got to be smart about it too. 100% Meatball Saucy. I agree with you. Quarter Arcades, Thunderstick Studios, and G.I. Joel. Not going to retire on the money, but so much faith in those home arcade products. I completely agree as well. And I also agree with James here. MKXL will be like printing money 100%. If Costco's not willing to buy that, they're the dumbest company in the entire world. Bring them an MKXL and say, we're doing it. Force them into it. I don't know how you have to do it. You can glaze them like MG likes to be glazed, whatever it takes, get it in there. So there's that, but there's a couple other things that I did want to talk about with Arcade 1-Up that I think they could do a very good job on. And I want to bring up this product here to talk about it if it will ever load. Sometimes this stuff doesn't want to load. So I'm going to bring this up again. And they really surprised me this year by coming out with the Terminator 2 Deluxe Arcade Machine. I was like, oh, wow. That's something I didn't see coming. And that was a period of hope for me, that Arcade 1-Up was going in the right direction, doing something interesting. They were coming out with this cab that had been sold out, that was a property they picked up, albeit with all the issues they had with it, one game, yada, yada, yada. It's one of my most popular reviews of all time. It did really well, and it makes me think that there was interest in the product. I mean, just the other day, I posted a picture. It was actually James. I posted that picture of you shared it on your Twitter, James. I also posted it as a response on Facebook showing how the Return of the Jedi cab looked next to the Arcade 1-Up Terminator 2. And the first thing, one of my like childhood friends said, "Oh my God, you got Terminator 2. I'm on my way over." Like, couldn't believe it. Like, was so excited about it. So there's definitely an interest, a nostalgia there for this. So good on them. But of course, one of the drawbacks that they did is they made it slimmer. This, as most people know who still own the original, like myself, know this was one of the deepest cabs Arcade One Up had made to date. And the fact that they made this slim, only 18.4 inches wide, is a travesty. It's very weird. Like some of these slim cabs being at about 14 inches. I don't know where they got the data, where they got the information, where they got the idea that people wanted slimmer cabs, but 100% they don't. So if I was Arcade One Up, the biggest thing I could do right now, on top of releasing a new game, on top of going back to making XLs, stop making slim cabs. Because even if you do make a new game, if it's a slim cab, you're going to find out there's not a lot of people that are willing to support you and buy your cab with a slim cab. I know you guys, you hate me when I talk about the side art shit, but take a look at the side art. Take a look at all this dead space up here. Take a look at how low Arnold has to be, which is a direct result from the cab being slimmer. If the cab was more of a proper dimension, like 24 inches, like the original cab, I've got to do the math on that. I might be wrong on that. Arnold would be up higher, and this would look more like the real arcade. But it's like basic funds cabs where everything is pushed right down to the bottom, which is artwork we don't want. We don't want to see the artwork in this thing. You got to remember, we're not just buying the game because there's a million ways to play T2. You can play it on a multicade. You can play it, hell, on your TV with a Raspberry Pi and a gun. You can buy a Pandora's box and play it. There's a million ways to play the game. So if you're going to be selling the game for $500-$600, charging us the premium, you got to expect that the package, the shell around it, is going to be really good as well. And unfortunately, with the slim cabs, you didn't do that. You made it smaller, you made it shittier, and you're taking away from it. So if Arcade One Up, one of the other biggest pieces of advice I could give you, cut it out with the slim shit. Unless you are trying to hit a market which is for apartments and people with like super limited space, and you think that's a huge market gap for you that you're going to make a ton of money, there's no reason to do this because you're alienating your core fan base. You're alienating your core market. So please stop making slimcades. I think the quality control matters with both, Mason Gamer, to be 100% sure, honest. I do. Ron Walker, I also believe in the cabinet art. Guys, if you think Arcade One Up should 86 the Slimcades, go back to having a proper depth like Basic Fun does on all their cabs, thank God, put a one in the chat. If Slimcades are a problem for you, like they're a problem for me, you notice it with the art, you don't want your cabs to be weirdly shaped in that way, please put a one in the chat, show some support to what I'm saying, and let Arcade One Up know and Basic Fun know we never want Slimcades. This is not something that the community wanted. We're not sure why the companies did it. The only reason we can think for sure is that they save a little bit of money on the weight and the shipping and stuff like that. But nobody wants Slimcades. 0% of the community. The Basic Fun cabs, I actually, give me a second. I'll bring that up for you now because they were kind enough. They sent me an email and they sent me a really cool infographic. So I got to take this down because I got to get my email up. And unfortunately, there's some psychos out there that if I put my email up would try to do something weird with it like they always do. So let me get the what did I miss? I had to poo. Not much, MG. Not much, unfortunately. But they actually sent me this really cool infographic about their Star Wars cab that, corrected me on what was going on with the depth. And all of that was caused by confusion with the Canadian distributors. So let me see if I can find this for you. They actually sent me some really nice images and stuff too. I got to say, I never got a name. I'm not close with them. I'm completely arm length, but really professional to deal with and stuff like that. So here it is here. They also sent me an image too. So let me see if I can find the image before I do anything else. Nah, screw it. I'll just show you this. So email psychos from Korea. Yeah, so let me find this again. Oh, that's not what I wanted at all. Add to stage. There we go. So Star Wars Ultra Cabinet. 22 inches deep. So that is the standard size for an arcade one-up. 22 inches deep on the Star Wars Ultra. If you go up to the Atari Centipede, it is 21.97 inches deep. And then if you go up to the WWE Ultra Arcade, it's 22.95 inches deep. So none of them are Slimcades. They're all in the right sizes. So good on them. Barely. They actually sent me a really nice picture, but hold on here now. See if this is it. No, that's not it. Anyways, I'll come back to it later. But here's what Arcade One Up needs to look at. I mean, you have a competitor that is offering a separate slim version if anybody wants to buy them. They are not bastardizing their main product line, which is the Ultra line, which is overtaking your 3/4 line by making them slimmer. So don't do that. And like I said in the chat, pretty much right across the board, all ones. Thank you everybody else for the support. Look at this. John McGowan won for sure. Jay Pace won. Stock Jock won. You got Dean Bramage, 1 equals no slim. Bill's Retro Gaming Show. Nooner says no slimmies. JJ says 1. Meatball Saucy says, I cannot vote because I never owned one. MG Head to Poo. We already covered that. Tim York, B. Kirby says 1. Tim York says 1. Jason Little Alien says 1. Sir Sega says 1. John B says 1. Reverman says 1. Very Serious says 1. It's ones right across the board. People do not want the Slimcades. Stop making them Arcade One Up. If you're going to make Slimcades and you think it's something that's a market you guys can get into, do what Basic Fun is doing. Make it a separate product line. And look, Basic Fun knows, according to Neo, on Arcade Insiders, every Thursday at 9 o'clock, there is no Basic Fun Slims planned in the future. So that Slim line that we had heard about previously has been discontinued. You know why? Because nobody wants Slim cabs. Nobody's going to buy them. I think so. I don't think there's any problem with that, Jay Pace. P-Dubs did a full review on it. Go check out his review. Can't wait to see Basic Fun's Claw Machine. I just want them to make arcade games for now. We're 3 arcade games in. Come on, guys. Just 1 second, guys. Let me take a look at my slide. We're just about to finish up, but I want to make sure don't miss anything that I did want to say about Arcade One Up. There it is. Yes, there was 2 more things. One, I did want to talk about this. One of the cabs you guys released in the last couple of years, which I absolutely hated. I want to see if it's still on your website. I don't even know if your website's still up. Let me look. Yes. So let me see if I can find this. So this, oh my God, I still did it again. Hold on. Hold on, guys. So this is the X-Men 97 cab. The reason I'm bringing this up is because this is essentially the Marvel versus Capcom 2 cab. And you're saying, what's wrong with this? You know, this was a good price, $4.99 when it came out. It allowed people to play Marvel versus Capcom. Obviously, I hated the collaboration, the art. That's not my cup of tea. I would have rather just seen a Marvel versus Capcom cab. But the reason I'm bringing this up is the fact that this is a Capcom, Marvel versus Capcom cab. But what shape is the cab? That's the Mortal Kombat 2 shape. That has no business being in a midway cabinet. That should be either in an HS5 or Big Blue or some other arcade format it was in. Yes, most of the Marvel vs. Capcom were conversion kits, but they were still put in Capcom style cabs. So for the life of me, whenever they do these re-releases, we see them in these midway cabs, it always upsets me. I think you guys have seen that there's a propensity for people to get really invested in your cabs you do a really good job on. So I would like to see more arcades. Yes, I knew C Marvel, you were going to come in and try to correct me on this. I know it can possibly be in a Marvel cab. I actually saw one, thanks to my Discord earlier, someone had a Marvel versus Capcom in an old Zybots cab, so you can put them in anything. I know you can put them in anything. You're upset for no reason. I'm not. With a Capcom cab and with this stuff, like, we're past the shark fin design period. And according to John D way back when, this was meant to be the new shark fin design. That's why you're seeing games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in the midway cab form factor, because this was going to be the new shark fin. I know it costs a lot more. I know it's very expensive to get these production molds done to build the cabs, but it's so worth it when you do it right. We want you guys to do it right. So please try, when you're making cabs, to make them as accurate as possible to the original. It means a lot to us, and it'll go a lot further towards a lot of us buying these cabinets. Advertisers pay well when Michael starts talking about hating the Slimcades. I really do hate the Slimcades. It's not a joke. I'm not joking. The picture is in my Discord. Like, there is a Zybots cab, which Meatball Saucy correctly identified, but it's a Zybots cab with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in it, and it's so funny. So let me take that down off screen, get back on screen, and then the last one is Arcade 1-Up. The same thing that I mentioned to Basic Fun earlier. You guys have been around for 6 years now, going on 7 years. You've seen the ups and the downs of the arcade space. You know about, Speakergate, where there was some kind of problem with the boards and we were getting terrible audio coming from the, speakers. That's been fixed. We know about the TN monitors that now Basic Fun is learning about, how they're not as good. We know about all these things. Just stay above board on those. Just make sure you're not repeating some of these old mistakes. Like, if you go away from the Slimcades, don't find a way back there. Avoid your old mistakes. Put out a new game. Do some cool stuff, and the community will come back. You put an ad out just a couple weeks ago saying America's #1 home arcade product. If you want to stay there, please listen to what I'm saying, because I think that it doesn't just represent this crazy fanboy's wants and desires. I think it represents a large part of the community as well and what they'd like to see. And I really think it could help you. And Basic Fun, same to you as well. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about Basic Fun, and I think it escaped my memory before I went. But last thing I'll say before I go, I'm still working on my Star Wars Return of the Jedi Basic Fun Arcade Classics review. I expect to have it out Wednesday morning or Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to take the day off work on Wednesday. My wife works from home on Wednesday and can watch Tommy, so I can put, the old college effort into it to make sure it gets out, tomorrow night, where I don't have anything going on tomorrow night. Scarlett doesn't have tutoring or anything like that. I don't have any late work meetings, but I should be able to get that out to you sometime on Wednesday. And before you freak out about my initial reactions about, obviously, the screen quality, you got to remember the camera didn't do a very good job of capturing the screen, but it is a TN monitor. And my initial reaction to the emulation, I'm going to be doing more of a deep dive over the course of the next couple of days. So wait for my review before you form a final opinion. That's all I really want to say on that. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of bad, and I'm going to give it all to you as much as I can within about 12 to 15 minutes in my review. So we'll see. So anyways, that's it for tonight, guys. The idea behind this, again, It's very easy to shit on these companies, write them off, talk about how they're not going to be successful and stuff like that. Some people do it and they grift for money, views, everything from it. It's their modus operandi. They know controversy creates cash. I don't want to do that. I want to talk about what's wrong with these products, not to knock these companies down, but to help them, alert them to what they could do and what they could do to make it better. I remember one other issue that I will bring up. One thing you will notice on every single Arcade 1-Up review and every single Basic Fun review that you're going to see is someone's going to complain about the controls. And I will say, I agree the controls could be better. You could absolutely go with the same buttons and sticks that At Games use for their At Games Legends Ultimate, which are a big upgrade to what you have. But it almost feels like it's a cop-out now at this point to say the buttons and sticks feel crappy, because at the end of the day, they work. I've never heard anybody say they don't work. The only times I've heard people say they don't work is on the Killer Instinct Pro Cab when they put in those real controllers, the Sanwas. Was it Sanwas? I believe it was, or HAP controllers that just messed up the entire control of Killer Instinct. People said the original cheap bail-in buttons and sticks were better, which is unbelievable, but true. And the only other time I've heard that the controls were crappy is when they use a specific controller, kind of like the Golden Tee trackball in the XL, or the original Asteroids cab with the spinner that was on that. That was terrible, and that's why Glenn came in. So your buttons and your sticks can be better, but that's not your biggest concern. Like, research what At Games have done. Maybe get the same buttons and sticks At Games have. People will stop complaining about that. But the buttons and sticks they've had in there kind of work. So there you go. Anyways, guys, that's it for me tonight. Wednesday, I should have that review out. I have also got that Basic Fun golden sample of Bad Dudes. I'm going to push to try to get that out this week as well. So stay tuned. I don't expect to do any news videos unless something crazy breaks. But between now and then, I've got 2 reviews that I'm going to be working on. And if I don't get both of them out, I'll see you Friday night for Super Game Room, dudes. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me tonight. Hopefully this news get back to these companies. Hopefully it gives them some insight and can help them make better products. And hopefully we in the community get better products to play. And we can have more fun talking about this stuff instead of talking about problems. So anyways, guys, have a wonderful night. Thank you for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. Thanks for watching Chill and Chat with Michael B. See you guys.